as I've been saying all along, a large part of the PSAT and SAT math is just following instructions, reading things carefully. There's almost no math involved in this. I know it looks scary, especially with that equation right here, but it doesn't matter, okay? Let's just see what they say. A sample of a certain isotope takes 29 years to decay to half its original mass. The function s of t equals 184 times 0.5 to the t over 29 gives the approximate mass of this isotope in grams that remains t years after a 184 gram sample starts to decay. Okay, here's what they told us. T represents the number of years, S represents the mass. That's it, in grams. So the units are all I really need to pay attention to. What is the T? What is the S? S of T, okay? Now, because what are they asking? Which statement is the best interpretation of S of 87 equals 23? Now, we do need to know function notation and recognize that this is the point, 87 for X, 23 for Y. Remember, we talked about function notation earlier. We talked about how it kind of builds and it's kind of like a Y and an X, but doesn't really look that way. But notice where that 87 is. It's in the parentheses. What was in the parentheses over in the equation? The T. So T is the 87. That's kind of the number of years. So another way to write this actually, let's do it here, is 87 years, comma, 23 grams, right? Use the unit with the number. Now as we go through these choices, if the unit doesn't match the number, get rid of it, right? So A, approximately 23 grams, okay, of the sample remains 87 years after the sample starts to decay. So it has the right units with the numbers, let's keep it in. B, the mass of the sample has decreased by approximately 23 grams, 87 years after the sample starts to decay. So that also has the same units, so okay, let's keep that in too. C, the mass of the sample has decreased by approximately 87 grams. No, 87 is the number of years, okay? 23 is the number of grams, so they switched it. So get rid of that. D, approximately 87 grams. Again, no, the sample remains 23 years. They switched it. So look, maybe you're still confused, but you've just doubled your odds of getting it right by crossing out two very obvious wrong answers. This is good, right? This is supposed to be a really hard question. So if you've doubled your odds of getting it right, that's improvement. That's great. Now we can try to think about the differences between these choices. So let's kind of look a little closer. So in A, approximately 23 grams of the sample remains 87 years after the sample starts to decay, okay. B, the mass of the sample has decreased by approximately 23 grams. So basically the 87 part is the same. Either way, 87 years have passed. What we're really thinking about then is 23, is the number of grams the amount that remains, or is it the amount that we've lost, right? Has it decreased by 23 grams, or is it the amount that remains? So let's go back to the question. Let's see what it says. The function S of t gives the approximate mass of the isotope in grams that remains. They just say it, guys. It's about following instructions. The reason people get this wrong is they give up before they start. And you can't do that. Yes, there's going to be a lot of questions on the PSAT and especially the SAT that are just crazily worded, if that's even a phrase that I'm not crazily wording. So you have to be able to just take a breath and work your way through it. This is not a question you want to get wrong. It is hard, but it's still gettable. And you just got to be patient and trust yourself and recognize that in a lot of these story questions, it's much more about the story than about the math. So try to think about units, what units go with which numbers and which letters. That's a big reason to get rid of some choices. And then everything else that we needed here was just written in the story very clearly. So take advantage of those opportunities. There are hard math questions where we need to do math, but this isn't one of them. Get this right.